Okay, so we've all arrived back in Solitude. Kind of got various things to do here. First thing to ask her, innkeepers heard rumours of moth priests about the place, so in here first. What you
Need
want?
something?
No, not really.
Need something?
Right.
Yes?
Where the hell's
Yes?
Cornelius? There's not a barman around that need one, is there?
Hi there. It's been a pleasure.
Here's Corpulus.
Hello there. We haven't met, have we? I'm Fironet, although my friends call me Firo, or Netta for short. Although I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. We just met, so we're hardly friends. Not to mean that we won't be friends someday, or even today. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this. Can we start over?
No, we can't be friends, not until you slay 12 ice race in my name.
Huh? You want me to do what, exactly? Oh, wait, before you say anything, should I write this down? I think Corpulus has some paper, and... You were joking. By the mountains of Dragontail, I am so dense.
It's alright, not really about bad.
Well, I was kind of hoping I could. I know, you're probably thinking I've gone mad the way I fumbled through our meeting. And, truth is, I'm perfectly happy just being Netta the Milkmaid.
So why do you want to become one?
Well, my friends have all said that I have a great singing voice. I suppose they should, because that's what friends do. But after hearing it a number of times from different people, you start to think there might be something to it. So here I am.
Have you been accepted into the college?
No, not yet. I talked to Viarmo, and he said that Pentia Atea would hear my audition when her schedule clears up. Oh, which is completely understandable. I imagine a master vocalist must have a very hectic schedule.
Well, it could just be an excuse not to bother with hopeless applicants.
I'd feel really bad for that person. Sometimes it's easier if you just say no. Especially if he or she doesn't have any talent. Oh, Mudcrabs, are you talking about me? I think I need a drink.
So what are you doing to prepare for your audition?
Right now, my biggest fear is having my throat go hoarse the day Pentia calls my name. And I still haven't recovered from the bout of rust chancre. One of the bards from the college suggested chewing on Nernroot, but I wasn't sure if he was serious.
None are moist, but they might drown out your voice with their chime.
Heh, I suppose it would be quite irritating. I didn't plan on singing with it in my mouth, though.
If you don't hurry, Pantea may forget your audition altogether.
True. On the one hand, all this anxiety can't be good for my health. Or my skin. On the other hand, at least now I can still cling to hope.
Why is clinging to hope so important to you?
Well, I know hope's something you feed children mostly. You tell them to dream big because they can be whatever they want to be. But for them, it doesn't really mean anything. If they say they want to be a bard or a jarl, it's just another answer to a question. They might as well say they want to be an apple.
How's it different for you?
Because it's real. I mean, look at this city. It's so large, so bright, and everything about it seems too impossible to exist. But it's not a dream. It's right there, in front of me.
Is it possible you're afraid of rejection?
Isn't everybody? But if I had to say what frightens me, it isn't failing as a bard. I'm scared I'll wake up one morning, and there won't be a need for vocal training. I'm worried one day I won't have a reason to borrow Gerard's books. I think about all the wonderful people I've met here, and I'm scared to say goodbye.
You're afraid of losing touch with the locals?
And not just the locals, but the travelers. People like yourself, as it were, even if I'm so dreadful at meeting them.
Were you born in Haffinger?
Oh no. I came here on a ship from Laneland, near Iliac Bay in Hammerfell. I didn't come alone, though. My fiancé at the time came with me. He stuck it out here in Skyrim for a few months, but eventually boarded a ship headed back home.
Why did your fiancé leave so soon?
It's my fault, really. I knew he didn't want to come to Skyrim, and it was probably the guilt that made him follow me here. It's one of those things. If I loved him, I shouldn't have asked him to leave. If he loved me, he wouldn't have asked me to stay. So in the end, I guess neither of us loved each other. But we'd already invested so much time into the relationship, and so he sacrificed everything for me.
What did he eat? What did your fancy sacrifice to bring you here?
Well, we didn't have a lot of gold, but my fiancé said he sold the farm so we could sail to Solitude. It was actually kind of romantic. But at some point on the way here, I caught a bad case of rust chancre. I got a rash on my arms and some swelling in my cheeks. But it was the damage to my throat that was the most depressing part. It took months before I could even speak.
How did your fiancé react?
He got impatient. The truth was, he expected us to be back in Hammerfell before the crops were in season. I should have known he didn't sell the farm.
You selfish fool. Your fiancé deserves better than looking at you.
I can't deny what you say is true. My fiancé was a good man, and confused duty with love.
So, how do you play the instruments?
Just the lute. Can you imagine me on the drum? I can't.
Where did you get your lute?
Well, the lute I have was my grandmother's. It turns out she was once a bard who studied at the college here in the city. My mother gave it to me before I left. She said she would have done it sooner, but she never realized I wanted to be a bard. I told her that made two of us.
You just started learning how to play it?
Yeah, I still feel rather clumsy with it. Sometimes I feel like it's lost all patience with my fingers. It's a cranky old thing and is quick to get out of tune. But when it's right, it can sing as beautifully as any other.
Okay.
Until next time.
Where the hell is Corpulus?
What do you need, my dear?
Oh, merch.
From the castle.
And what
we
might
used
you
to be
need?
able to see Solitude
I
over
go
the
for sale.
mountains.
Take a look.
That's exactly what I'd imagined.
What have we got? $45. Don't know what I'm doing with the inkwell. Get rid of it anyway. Right.
What's on your mind?
Let's get going.
Need something?
Yeah, I need to find Corpulus, wherever he is.
Hey, sister, you look thirsty. Tell you what, you give me 1,000 gold pieces and I'll buy you a drink.
Keep the drink and they'll keep my money.
Fair enough. I guess it ain't much of a trade. What if I threw myself into the deal?
I should choose you over Belrand.
The choice is as clear as the reasons, sister. Belran likes to say, you can go for a swordsman or a spellcaster, but why not have both? He likes to say that a lot. Why not have both? I'll tell you why. It's like you're out for a meal, you get the choice of pie or fish. Belrand is like a pie made out of fish. Why not have both? That's why.
So I should hire the idiot who does nothing well instead.
Why? You looking to hire yourself? Because you can't be talking about me. It's not like all those skulls scattered around Skyrim bashed themselves in.
So I noticed that you charge twice as much as any other mercenary. Why?
Is that right? Didn't really think about it. Just tried to put a number on what you're getting.
You're badly misreading the mercenary market.
Hey, I'm just a dumb old merc. Don't know nothing about anything. But I'll lower my prices when people stop paying them.
So tell me about yourself.
It's pretty simple. In this world, you got people who want other people dead. They pay me to kill them.
I actually need to hire you for a specific job.
Yeah? It might cost you extra, depending on how dangerous it is. Hell, make it dangerous enough and it might cost you less. But it'll still cost.
You're just a tool I need to help me complete a pilgrimage.
I've been called worse. In fact, tool pretty much sums up what I do. And this tool costs about 1,500 gold to use.
Here's 1,500 gold, not accepting more.
You got yourself a deal. And don't worry, you're getting the better end of it. And I believe I owe you a drink.
Yeah. Whatever. Interesting news or rumours and thoughts?
I tend to have only happy thoughts. Mostly because I only think about one thing. It's round, gold, and buys me mead. My next opinion of the war will be my first. My only opinions on the dragons is that I don't care.
Well, killing dragons can be quite profitable.
Probably. So is killing men. I'll stick to what I know.
Need something?
Right, well, the corpus is upstairs or something. It's so annoying. Well, I'm talking to him just yet because I've got other things to do. Oh, there he is.
Welcome to the Winking Skeever, friend.
You heard anything about a moth priest passing through here?
Have I heard anything? It was the talk of the city for 3 days straight. Ain't too often we get a visitor like that.
Nobody is now.
Oh, he just left a short while ago. He said he'd finished up his work and it was time to move on. That's all I can tell you. He asked me not to let anyone know where he was going. I suppose he didn't want the attention.
Alright, finding out moth priest is worth a lot to me.
I can see that. He said he was heading for Dragonbridge next. I hope that helps you.
Dragonbridge. Right. Okay. Time's it? I think we better head to Dragonbridge before someone else gets the moth priest, so...
What can I do for you?
Different clock on.
Most people in Skyrim don't care for them.
it? Right, let's go. Right, so we've done that road there. We'll head generally south direction. Oh, it's not a cloak I got that. There, right. Yeah, that's it, right.
Make sure to pull your bow all the way back to get the most power out of your shot.
To be honest, I've been using a bow for ages. I know that. I think I had too much wine at the Winkin' Skeever.
Need something?
Water, please.
Of course. See you around.
That spell looks dangerous.
Yeah, it is. I don't really care. Well, Lydia, stop standing in
Yes,
the
my
doorways,
lady?
please.
That spell looks dangerous. Keep your distance. It's been a pleasure.
I suppose people won't talk to you until I put a hood on, so... more at ease.
What do you need? Farewell.
Yeah, the girls know about it.
Where are these vampires coming from? We need to wipe them out before things get worse.
All right then.
Yeah. Vampire, eh?
I'm fairly certain you wandered into the wrong building, friend.
May your will carve itself upon the world.
Oh, well. Back to the inn.
Yes, love?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Yeah?
Until next time. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
You there. Heed my request. It'll only take a moment of your time. For what I ask plain. If you're a bard, for your own sake, do not sing. For your voice cannot compare to mine.
You sound like an old way, you stink like a gutter rat.
Undoubtedly, these snot-bearing rags have collected their fair share of slime. But I've received no complaints from the company I've sought.
I think you're supposed to be a bard, eh?
That's right. Although I wasn't always a handsome bard. I used to be a handsome adventurer, and before that I was just handsome. Unfortunately, my adventuring days came to an end after I nearly lost my life in a scuffle with a group of bandits known as the Silver Hand. After that, I figured it wasn't worth it. Sure, I was a damn good fighter. The best. But I was damn near good at everything else, too. I owed it to this world to keep me alive. I can't even begin to imagine what sort of Daedric nightmare Skyrim would be if I didn't exist.
Oh, the Silver Hand.
It happened in an inn. Not unlike this one, where I met this lovely tavern wench. A bit chubby, but on the voluptuous side of fat. I could have charmed and cajoled her, but I've always been the type to show rather than tell. So I showed her just exactly how her previous lovers had failed her. Unfortunately, my favorite thrusts were such that she accused me of turning into a beast during the height of my passion. Literally.
What do you mean by a beast?
To be specific, she said I was a werewolf. When rumors spread around of my transformation, I became a target of the Silver Hand. That wench made the coffin maker a lot of money that day, with all the men I was now forced to kill. I'm beginning to think the two were kin.
The Silver Hand wouldn't fall to one who spits breadcrumbs when he speaks.
Your words can mock me, but your cowardly face serves as its own retort. Of course, you can try to change it, but it will do no good. You can narrow your eyes and bare your teeth, but you forget I am a bard, and I can hear the subtle trill in your voice. It tells me you are afraid, but considering how magnificent I am, you have every reason to be. You remind me of that poor Breton imp.
Oh, Breton imp.
He's an old acquaintance of mine. Joined up with wolf hunters just so he could have a chance to kill me. As if I could be killed. In fact, the little carrot licker's been trying to kill me for more than a dozen years now. Back when my balls had more fur than his chin.
How does Quentyl begin?
You'll have to ask him. I haven't the faintest idea. Probably fell in love with me or something, seeing as I have that effect on women and men. All I know is, wherever I go, he manages to show up.
What kind of jewels have you and the Breton had?
We fought with swords, bare knuckles, knives, bows, and scrolls. We fought in the snow, In caves, in taverns, and on horseback. We fought alone, with companions, on opposite sides of the war. The one place he doesn't like to fight is out in the sun. I think it's because he's a bloody vampire.
Really?
Now that I'm a bard, he'll likely become a writer so he can document his lies in books while I immortalize the truth in song.
What's his band's name?
How should I know? He told it to me once. Shouted it at me, really. But I couldn't be bothered to remember such an insignificant detail. You'll likely find him wherever it is filthy skeevers like to congregate. My name will most assuredly be the first word out of his mouth.
So what, I can tell you these jewels.
I remember bits and pieces. A few stories here and there, but I can hardly keep a ledger. If you want the details, you will have to ask him. I can't be expected to recall events that are so unworthy of my memories.
A knife fight seems like it would be hard to forget.
Yes, perhaps I do recall some of it. It was in Riften, I think, at the turn of the century, on the eve of the New Life Festival. We were all in a drunken revelry when these two elves got into an argument because one of them refused to dance with the other's sister. Then the one elf says to the other, "If your sister looks anything like you, I'd rather bet an orc." Then an orc woman rises from her chair and yells some sort of curse before smashing a flagon across his nose.
What happened next?
Pretty soon the whole place is an all-out brawl. That's when I felt a tap on the shoulder. My instincts were to turn and duck. Too bad the Breton was aiming for my neck. The little imp ended up shaving my scalp. "How much did you pay those elves to start this?" I asked him. He said he didn't have to pay them anything. When he told them the plan was to kill me, he said they offered to do it for free. An obvious lie, of course.
What about the mounted jewel?
If you're that interested in my exploits, I'm sure I can drudge up a few details. Let's see. I believe it was a stormy night in Whiterun, and travelers from across the hold crammed themselves into the bannered mare. I remember being confronted by a child dressed from head to toe in steel. Only upon removing his helmet he revealed himself as the Breton. In the interest of sport, I offered to allow him to duel me on horseback, while I fought blindfolded. It was the only way to even the odds.
But I take it he didn't actually fight blindfolded.
We settled on mounted combat, which I accepted knowing that he had already bribed Skulvar into giving him the superior horse. The rain continued to pour that night, our horses trundling through the mud. It was his opinion that the vast tundra would make for a fine arena. I could barely see through the blades of water that whipped into our eyes as he positioned his steed 100 horse lengths from mine. We were to charge at the sound of his companion's horn, and when it blared, I flew.
So what ultimately happened?
I flew through the storm like a mighty chariot, tassels of water fling about in my wake. I felt the elements swirling around me, focusing their energy into my axe. I knew then the Breton would die that day. Only the little imp was nowhere to be found. I assumed he had fled. That would have been the sensible thing.
Did you ever find out what happened to him?
When I found him lying in the mud, his horse having slipped and broken both their legs, he blamed me, of course, for sabotaging his horse. What does he think? I used some sort of mind control on the beast? I wouldn't put it past me, but it's not a power I possess. I am inclined to believe it was his companion that brought him a lame horse, in order to salvage the little imp's life.
What about dueling during the war?
You're right, but only because they happened at the end of the wars we were fighting. We were there when the Jarl of Markarth surrendered to Madanach, and when Madanach surrendered to Ulfric. We were supposed to be witnesses to the peace accord, but ended up fighting in the Hall of the Dead while the others were in the keep.
How did this fight start?
Naturally, it was he who initiated both duels. I would never do something so undignified given the circumstances. As the class of swords tend to echo in those spacious dwarven ruins, we were limited to bows. Of course, I was working with a handicap. After nearly escaping the first duel, the second time the Breton swine came prepared with poison-tipped arrows and 3 red potions tied to his belt. So in effect, to succeed, I would have to kill him 4 times. I only managed 3 before I ran out of arrows.
Goodness sake, that's enough about your jewels.
Indeed. Again, you're better off asking him. If we both stay at this inn long enough, you might be unlucky enough to meet him.
So, what sort of pedigree do you come from?
The humblest of births, but someday, the most glorious of ends. That is, if someone like myself is even capable of dying. I'm not entirely sure. Yet I am indeed a far cry from the life my mother sought to raise me in, when she was but a handmaiden working in Dragon's Reach. In my childhood, I grew up around nobles, thanes, and highborn lords, sworn to the servant's oath, to perform one's duty and to go unnoticed.
Wasn't it your servant's hand such an oath?
Indeed. Only I can think of nothing more dreadful than going unnoticed. You see, I've always longed for attention, yearned for it, craved it. And there is no purer attention, no higher appraisal of one's worth than the giving of applause. That's what I play for. The last pluck of a lute string and the faint echo of silence before the crowd roars in appreciation. I play for both the silence and the roar, the anticipation and the climax. The moments that seem to go on forever, and yet are never long enough.
What makes your voice so special?
Some think it was a voice born to tell stories, or one meant to lead men into battle. Others contend my very throat was forged by dragonfire. I've heard some describe it like a bottle of hard whiskey and boiled potatoes, like smoke misting off hot coals. Most tell me it's a voice that carries with it a sense of authority, a voice fit for a king. I do nothing to dissuade such accusations. Now imagine this regal, manly voice of mine singing all the bard's favorites. My patrons from here to Riften will come to this inn to hear it. Yet despite me doubling her business, Vaida insists on charging me for a room. Such greed is unbecoming.
Okay.
Farewell.
Respect the law, and you'll have no trouble in Dragonbridge.
Mm-hmm. Is there something I can do for you? All right, then.
You, tell me, do you think I'm attractive?
I hate questions like this. You'll say yes and you'll think I'm just being nice.
And an answer like that is as good as saying no. Except that can't possibly be right, because I'm a ravishing beauty, and we both know it. Only if you did know it, you would have answered yes right away, which must mean you're jealous, and don't want to admit you wish you were me. Which reminds me of a certain high elf I hate so much.
Where's this high elf?
Alduin is my arch enemy, my nemesis in love. Nelos is always talking to her, confiding in her, when he should be doing those things with me. It makes no sense why he prefers her company. Unlike that Somerset I saw, I'm a fellow Dunmer. Not to mention I'm cuter, funnier, and by far the more talented mage. And the worst part is they just met. How can he value the counsel of that drunk over his companion of 5 years?
I've met Elduin. She never mentioned Nelos.
That only serves to validate my point. The stupid Altmer bitch doesn't love Nelos. Meanwhile, I can't go 2 sentences without mentioning him. It doesn't surprise me. If I had as much hair on my back as she did, I'd probably fancy a Khajiit.
Who is Nelos anyway?
Arguably the greatest mage in all of Tamriel. But when it comes to who is most dashing, I will tolerate no argument. He is a Dunmer of average height, but immeasurable stature. His eyes burning with the fire of the Red Mountain itself. For all those who serve the guild, he is our leader, our mentor, our muse. He is the hand and we are the fingers, waiting for the long night when we clutch all of Nirn in our palm.
Tell me more about your guild.
We are a small group of mages, whose ideals do not always align with the 100 or so guilds that now roam Tamriel in place of the one. The Synod is too political. The College of Whispers is too short-sighted. The Sishiks are too close-minded, and let's face it, Winterhold is a wreck. The Radiant Dark is open to all who possess skill with magic, whether the light you cast shines brightly or darkly. Those who have power seek it, not for politics or justice, knowledge or peace, but for power itself.
Say no more, where does I sign up?
Oh, you can't just ask to be in the guild. Nelos has to select you, and he has a very discerning eye. Elduin may have the face of a slaughterfish, but her hands know fire better than her mouth knows wine. Gerard may ramble on like a fool, but his talent for alteration can bend city walls as easily as it bends spoons. And this does not even include the 5 acolytes of Nelos's personal guard, one for each school of magic. When they recover the knowledge that was lost, we will be that much closer to the day of the long night.
Tell me about the long night.
The one written on the face of all who fear us, for Nelos himself wrote it. I've often thought of how it will come. Dreamt of it. Imagine a cool winter night, when the only sound you hear is the wind threading through the trees. The sort of nights made for long shadows and dark phantoms, for quick daggers and hot blood. A night born for unholy rituals, hushed whispers, and shivers down the spine of children and men. A night when the end of all things is possible. A wonderful night to have a curse.
When nights are long and winters are cold, mortals die. This I like.
Then may the Radiant Dark count you as an ally when the time comes for true power to flex its might.
Yes, you were a mage.
I am, and I'll have you know it wasn't all talent. I worked very hard to become the mage I am. A mage not everyone thought I could be. I still remember when I was but a novice at the college. Whenever I cast a destruction spell, everyone would comment on what a good enchanter I was. I didn't realize it at the time, but I think they were insulting me. Although, to be fair, I am a good enchanter. The best.
Of course, you made it abundantly clear you were wonderful at everything.
Yes, but I found where I truly excel is with spells of frost and cold. I was in the Arcaneum studying a tome on that very subject when I first met Nelos. He looked so menacing with that lick of hair and blades of war paint slashed across his face. Yet his voice was gentle. He asked me if I understood the tome I read. I could only nod what remained of my head as my body melted into the floor. His questions turned out to be a sort of audition, one that I naturally passed with flying colours, despite Nelos having sailed under false ones.
When I cast destruction spells, people cower in fear, as they should.
So you've tasted the power of destruction at your fingertips. I was addicted from the start. I couldn't get enough of the tingle of lightning spells, or the hot breath of a fireball on the back of my palms. But I was destined to be a cryomancer, and true to fate's word, it's the chill of cold air that I love most of all.
Why, frost magic.
There's no way to be certain why the Divines blessed me with such a specific gift, but I do know how. You see, fire scorches and lightning shocks, but ice is a paradox, for it can both destroy and preserve. In fact, my grandmother once believed frost magic was the key to eternal youth.
Using frost magic for preserve youth, how would that work?
Well, the old bat thought if she slowed the heart and the body, she could slow the aging process itself. Every day she cast frost spells on herself, trying to delay the appointment the wrinkles had with her neck. Yet it only left her skin cracked and dry and whiter than a Nord's. She was a living ghost. Soon her health began to fail and she no longer could muster up the magicka for her daily treatment. That's when she bought me a tome on frostbite. She was completely mad, of course. Should a child always listen to her elders? Was it wrong for me to end her miserable existence?
In this case, no.
Really? I thought I was doing her a favor. Although granted, I may be a bit biased, I did quite enjoy the way the frost nibbled on her skin. So much so I might have overdid the treatment. She was, however, well preserved in the end.
What's so special about the tome?
It was a book recommended to me by the librarian's apprentice on the nature of destruction magic. While some schools attempt to mimic reality and others try to alter it, it was unclear whether destruction was doing one or the other. When you harness the elements, do you draw them from nature or manifest them? When heat is drawn to make fire, does the air lose warmth? Much of this was explained to me by Nelos. Not that I needed him to. I understood it just fine. I just wanted to hear his voice.
Naturally.
In any case, he told me how the answer lies in the beasts of the wild and the world around us. When plants fail to grow in mage light, it's proof alteration is not natural. When the invisible can be touched, it proves that illusion is not real. Then look at the way catfish come to the surface when the earth is about to quake, or how rodents scurry indoors days before winter. Nature knows what's real, and it will react to a coming storm in the same fashion, whether it made by mortals or gods.
What brings you to Dragonsbridge?
When the guild I belonged to last met, Nelos instructed us to refrain from contact for the time being. I suspected this might be some clever attempt for him and Alduin to escape on some tryst, which neither I nor the laws of decency could abide by. So I followed Nelos to Harthinger, but only got as far as Dragonbridge before I lost track of him. I wait here now in hopes that he might return, and in fear that she will be with him when he does. Farewell.
It's an interesting conversation that Quentyl just had with Gizly there.
Is there something I can do for you?
About destruction
See you
magic.
around.
It's pretty interesting.
Fate is the name. I keep the inn. Yeah,
Well, no one's getting up much reason about this. A moth priest, are they? I have to go searching outside. Jack.
Speak, elf.
It's alright.
May your will carve itself upon the world.
Well. Got this guy.
Make yourself useful and chop up some firewood. There's a few coins in it for you.
Anything about a moth priest with Dragonbridge?
Nah, I don't think so. Uh-huh.
Well.
Keep walking, stranger.
Anything about a moth priest with Dragonbridge?
A moth priest? I'm sorry, but I don't know anything about that. Try asking one of the guards.
Okay.
All right.
Good idea. If there's a guard around and you can find one.
Heard about you and your honeyed words.
Anything about a moth priest visiting here?
Ah, so that was a moth priest then. He rode through town not long ago with an escort of soldiers. They didn't stop, just headed south across the Dragon Bridge.
Okay. Thanks for the information. Across the bridge there, eh? it. Some other scrolls. It's really known among scholars that the Elder Scrolls can tell us. Newton Hazard, the reading, the mechanism of the effect has at present largely unknown. Thieves of hidden knowledge and divine intuition with investigation. Aye, Justinianus Polyhenius, I think, have undertaken nothing. The Elder Scrolls readers. If I see of how they must be in my group it's been like a scholar, probably caught me playing. Right. I'll read this later. Anyway, we so far. Vampire Malchus. From Malchus, who the hell's Malchus? I have new orders for you. Prepare an ambush just south of Ride Dragon Bridge. Take a moth priest to 4 Bears Holdout or taking it like break his will. Malchus. So vampires have taken the moth priest. That's weird. Right. That's the southeast, eh? Right. Hideout. Oh, there's somewhere.
Let me know if you have anything you need.
This place is. Vigilance. That's what that was.
still here? Oh, what is it? All right then.
Find this damn place. Right, big fella, don't want to time for you just now. There we are. Okay, let's head in, eh?